In the dystopian city of Erisden, where freedom was nothing but a whisper in the wind, four figures dared to defy the oppressive regime, united by a common purpose and bound by an unbreakable camaraderie. They formed a secret society dedicated to liberating their city from the clutches of its ruthless leader. They called themselves the Liberators. He was the face of the resistance, his every word echoing with passion and conviction, rallying the downtrodden masses to rise against their oppressors. From freeing political prisoners languishing in the regime's infamous dungeons, to sabotaging government installations, each mission was fraught with danger. Yet they pressed on, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies and igniting hope in the souls of the oppressed. But as Kael approached his target, he made a horrifying discovery. As sirens wailed and the regime's forces descended upon them, Kael and his companions were forced to flee, leaving behind them the hopes and dreams of a city that hung in the balance. She suggested they infiltrate the regime's top-secret facility, where scientists were working on a revolutionary mind control serum, and use it to turn the tables on their enemies. Veyra, ever the voice of caution, warned against it. When Lira's consciousness returned, she found herself in a strange new reality. The line between hero and villain had blurred, leaving her shrouded in darkness. Kael, already burdened by guilt, retreated further into himself, seeking solace in solitude. Dren, ever the pragmatist, redoubled his efforts, pouring all his energy into the resistance. And Veyra, stricken with grief, threw herself into her work, hoping to find a way to counteract the serum. The serum hadn't just given her control over others, it had amplified her own abilities to unprecedented levels. Its creators had inadvertently designed it to amplify the darkest aspects of a person's personality, turning them into either ruthless dictators or broken, tormented souls. Horrified by this revelation, and desperate to undo the damage, she confronted her former allies. But even in the face of overwhelming odds, her spirit remained unbroken. Liberators became the chained council, ruling with an iron fist and crushing any dissent with merciless efficiency. Kael ascended to the highest ranks of power, becoming a figurehead of the regime. Lira, wielding her amplified powers and cunning like a weapon, became his right hand, ensuring that no threat to their authority would go unnoticed or unpunished. Dren, revered as a martyr by his followers, became a prophet of sorts, preaching his twisted ideology from behind bars, where he was imprisoned for his crimes against the state. And finally, Veyra, the last remaining symbol of the resistance, became a ghost, a whisper in the wind, plotting in the shadows to bring down the very people she once called comrades. She knew that the true battle was not for power or control, but for the very soul of their city. The question was, would the people rise again and reclaim their stolen freedom? Or would they forever live under the yoke of their oppressors? Only time would tell. The potential consequences of messing with such powerful technology were too great to ignore. Lira, drunk on power, viewed Veyra's attempts at redemption as a challenge to her authority, a test that she was determined to pass. And Dren, spiraling deeper into fanaticism, preached a twisted gospel of freedom through obedience, claiming that the serum was merely a tool to achieve the greater good. Kael, consumed by guilt over the mission failure, found himself embracing the very order he had once fought against, becoming a staunch supporter of the regime's iron fist rule. Lira, relishing her newfound power, used the serum to silence anyone who opposed her, even going so far as to turn some of their own allies against the group. Dren, blinded by his unwavering belief in freedom, saw only tyrants around him and became increasingly reckless in his actions. And Veyra, horrified by the serum's effects on her friends and the innocent alike, became more resolute than ever in her opposition to their methods. But the others were resolute. It was none other than his estranged brother, who had been taken in by the regime's siren call of power and prestige, turning his back on their family and all that was good. Torn between his duty to the resistance and his love for his brother, Kael found himself frozen in the face of danger. Her nimble fingers danced across keyboards, bypassing security protocols with ease. With every step, the danger grew palpable. Suddenly alarms blared, lights flashed, and she was cornered. But in a daring move, she activated the serum, injecting it into herself before the regime's agents could capture her. The mere whisper of their names sent shivers down the spines of the regime's agents. They were a constant thorn in the side of authority, reminding the people that they were not alone in their struggle. The regime, desperate to crush the rebellion once and for all, offered them a chilling ultimatum: surrender the leaders of the Liberators or face the consequences. Finally, rounding out this quartet of rebels, there was Veyra, a brilliant scientist who defected from the regime's inner circle. Her expertise was invaluable, using her intimate knowledge of the government's technology to develop weapons and gadgets that gave the underdogs fighting chance against their adversaries. There was Kael, a former soldier whose honorable past was marred by a tragic mistake that left him haunted by guilt and a thirst for redemption. Then there was Lira, a mysterious hacker and spy whose fingers danced across keyboards, weaving intricate webs of deception and extracting secrets from the regime's most secure systems. They launched daring attacks on government convoys, rescued dissidents from the jaws of death, and exposed the regime's corruption to the masses. All seemed to be going according to plan, until one fateful mission forever altered their path. Renowned as the Shadow Hand, her aliases were legion, her skills unparalleled. But it was Dren who commanded attention with his silver tongue and a magnetic charm. Together, these four warriors waged a relentless campaign against the regime. Their exploits were legendary. As their ranks grew, so did their audacity. The target was a high-ranking official, a key player in the regime's machinery of oppression. In that crucial moment of hesitation, the mission was compromised, throwing their entire operation into jeopardy. The regime retaliated with swift and brutal force. Many of their allies were captured, tortured, and silenced. Desperate to regain control of the situation, Lira proposed a risky and controversial plan. And so, under the cloak of darkness, Lira infiltrated the facility. The world dissolved into a kaleidoscope of colors and sensations as the serum coursed through her veins, rewriting the very code of her being. But this newfound power came at a terrible price. The serum had twisted her, warping her mind and turning her into something cold and calculating. Meanwhile, the news of Lira's supposed demise reached the other Liberators, each reacting in their own way to this devastating loss. However, unbeknownst to them, Lira was alive, though not in a way they could have ever imagined. As days turned into weeks, tensions rose, and the cracks in their unity began to show. With the bonds of friendship broken and trust shattered, the Liberators ceased to exist, leaving behind them a legacy of what could have been. In the end, it was Veyra who uncovered the chilling truth about the serum's effects. But it was too late. Kael, his humanity long eroded by the serum, saw Veyra as nothing more than a threat to the new order he had embraced. Outnumbered and outgunned, Veyra was forced to flee, becoming a hunted fugitive in the very city she had once sought to liberate. Thus began a new chapter in the tale of Erisden, one where the roles were reversed and the oppressors were once the heroes. And so, the story of Erisden took a dark turn, leaving the city's fate hanging precariously in the balance.